Alright, welcome back. This is linear functions video number 10. So we're continuing the topic of linear functions. Now many of you were out Friday, okay? So I've put the homework up on the board so that you know everything that you need to turn in Tuesday when you get back. The homework that says, the homework due Friday was actually assigned Thursday, alright? And I gave you a handout sheet. We're going to call that handout sheet number 1, okay? And the homework again that was due Friday were these problem numbers. For this homework, you can use video numbers 9 and 10. That will help you with this homework assignment. Now, Friday I assigned another homework, and this homework is due Tuesday. Again, if you watch these videos, hopefully you can complete this homework before you get back. I gave a second handout sheet Friday. Okay, and on that second handout sheet, I assigned problem number 109. Okay. Now, you don't have this handout sheet with you. For those of you that are out, you don't have this handout sheet. But what I will do in video number 11 is I will write this problem on the board so that you can still complete it before you get back Tuesday. Now, for this homework assignment, use video numbers 10 and 11. Okay? All right, now let's go ahead and start this lesson. Okay, so we're going to need a graph. Get out your graph paper. I think a 6x6 should be enough. Okay, quickly draw this. 6x6, yeah. In fact, I don't think I have a 6x6 here. 5x5 actually would be enough. Okay, so the problem, this is problem number 57 off of the first handout sheet. It says 2x minus 3y equals 10. Okay. Now reminding you, whenever you're dealing with linear functions, you must find two pieces of information. Hopefully by now you really are good at this. We need what? Point and slope. Well, okay. This problem does not give you a point and a slope directly. Okay. You guys are used to seeing, all right, here's a point, here's a slope, graph the line, find your point, slope, intercept, standard. Remind you there were 4 steps for homework Thursday. For the homework that was assigned Friday that's due Tuesday, you have to do 5 steps. Or you have to graph it, you have to find your point, slope form, you have to find your slope, intercept form, and you need to find your standard form, and then lastly you need to find your X and Y intercepts. Okay. But actually the homework will take less time. The homework that I assigned Friday should take less time than the homework that I assigned Thursday, so don't worry. In fact, these problems are actually a little bit easier. Okay, so you need a point, you need a slope. Now looking here, okay, what did they give you, or what does the problem give you? The problem gives you an equation. Okay, so this equation is one of these 3. Okay, now hopefully you recognize that you are looking at standard form. Let me remind you, looking over here at standard form equation, notice what is unique about standard form. Notice that your x term and your y term are where? On the left-hand side of the equation. Okay? Notice in this given information, here's your equality. Notice that your x term and your y term are on the left. So you're looking at what? Standard form. Okay? So go ahead and circle it. One of your steps is already done. Okay? This is standard form. So you see that, hey, the given information is one of your steps. So you don't even have to find your standard form. It's already given. Now, notice also that I've shown you how to find a point and a slope in point-slope form. I have shown you how to find a point and a slope in slope-intercept form, but I have not shown you how to find a point and a slope in standard. So, what you're going to do is you're going to take your standard form and you're going to convert it to one of these other forms. Okay? And if I ask which form is closer, of these two forms, which form is closer to standard, hopefully you say, well, slope-intercept. Notice, what is unique about slope-intercept form? Notice that y is by itself on the left. Okay, so we're going to take our standard form equation. I'm going to write it here. 2x minus 3y equals 10. And we're going to convert this to slope-intercept form. And in order to do this, we have to get y by itself on the left. So notice, we have to get rid of 2x, and we have to get rid of the number that's in front of y. Okay? This is a -3. So let's go ahead and draw a line down the center of the equality. We're going to take our 2x and move it to the left-hand side of the equation. We're left with what? Okay, be careful here. This is a -3y equals The 2x moves and becomes negative 2x, and we already have a positive 10 over here. Students ask, well, does it matter if we put the 10 first and then put the 2x after that? No, it doesn't. But we're used to reading y equals mx plus b. So I encourage you guys to put your x term first and put your number. Okay, now we have to continue. Are we done? No. Okay, notice that we have to get y by itself. So what do we still have to get rid of? We have to get rid of the negative 3. Notice that negative 3 is being multiplied. So we're going to divide by negative 3 on every term. Divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. Okay, so these cancel. We're left with y equals, and notice, negative 2x over negative 3, what happens with the two negatives? Okay, hopefully you say these cancel. We're left with 2x over 3. Okay, so two negatives cancel to become positive. And here we have positive 10, negative 3. So positive, negative will become what? Subtract. Okay, so subtract 10 over 3. And you have arrived, notice y is by itself on the left-hand side of the equation. You have arrived at slope-intercept form. So now two steps are done. Okay, this is, you may label it, slope, intercept. I'm just going to abbreviate, slope-intercept form. Okay, all right, so we have standard form, we have now slope-intercept form. And again, you're trying to find what? Point and slope. Since you've arrived at slope-intercept form, underneath this I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. You can now find your slope and your point. Okay, notice the slope is the number that is in front of x. In this case, what is in front of x? Okay, not just 2, guys. Be careful. 2x over 3 is the same as what? 2/3 multiplied by x. We talked about this. And remember that x multiplies by the top. Okay, so this 2x over 3 is 2/3 x. So if I ask you what is in front of x or what is the slope, hopefully you say that the slope is 2/3. So we're going to write m equals 2/3. There is our slope. And now we need our point. Okay, now notice over here, if you have positive b in the equation, our point is 0b. Okay, so here we have negative 10/3 in the equation. So our point will be 0, negative 10/3. Now, if you write this, not good. Okay, so we're not going to write it this way. What am I talking about? Okay, negative 10/3 is an improper fraction. Okay, we want to convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. Why? Because if you try to find negative 10/3 on your graph, where is that? Okay, that doesn't have a lot of meaning. Okay, so we're going to convert this to a mixed number by taking here. I'm going to erase it. Okay. And we're going to ask, how many times does 3 go into 10? Hopefully at this point you can say 3 times. Okay, so we're going to write 3. Okay, 3 goes into 10 3 times, and how many are left over? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. To get from 9 to 10 is 1, so there's 1 left over. So we're going to have 1 over, what is our denominator? Denominator is 3. Now, since this is negative, okay, this is going to be negative 3 and 1/3. For those of you that struggle with this, again, 10 divided by 3. We have to get a remainder. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, we get 10 minus 9 is 1. Okay, so we get a remainder of 1. And we write this as 3 and 1 over the remainder over what we divided by. So 3 and 1/3. Okay, now, so we have a point. We have a point. We have a slope. We can now graph the line. Okay, so looking over here, we have to start. Remember, our point is where we start. And our slope is direction rise over run. Okay, so we're going to start at 0, negative 3 and 1/3. So 0 means do not go left and right. Negative 3 and 1/3 means go down 3 and a little bit more. Okay, so we're not going left and right. We're going down 1, 2, 3 and a little bit more. So we're between negative 3 and negative 4. Okay, now we're going to use our slope, rise over run. The rise is positive 2. The run is positive 3. This means, since the rise is positive 2, go up 2. The run is positive 3, go right 3. So from here, we're going to go up 2 and right 3. Now, be careful. Okay, you are not on a specific intersection on the graph paper. Okay, you're just slightly below negative 3. So when you count up 2, watch, count up 2, when you count the first unit, you're just below negative 2. And when you count the second unit, you're just below negative 1. So here, we're just below negative 3. So up 1 puts us just below negative 2. And up another puts us just below negative 1. Now we're here. We're going to now go right 3. Okay? 3, put your point. Okay? Now, hopefully you can see, well, hopefully you can see that your point lies just below an intersection on your graph paper. Okay, so up 2, right 3, up 2, so up 1 puts you just below -2, up 2 puts you just below -1, then right 3. So you're just below an intersection point on your graph paper. Okay, let's go ahead and graph this line. I think my graph's going to be slightly off. Again, this is why we use graph paper, because on graph paper your line will be very accurate. Okay? Alright, so now, question, does our line go uphill left to right? Okay? Yes, alright, this is consistent with what type of slope? This is consistent with positive slope, so make sure you double check. Our slope is positive, our line should be rising, going uphill left to right. Okay, just a quick note, on your test, if you star this, this is just like the second question on your test. This equation here, slope-intercept form equation that I've written on the board here. It's almost actually identical to this question. I think there's only one number that's different. But what on the test, I don't ask you to do all 5 steps. I just simply give you this slope-intercept form, and I say graph it. Okay, so let's practice another one here. This is like question number 2 on your test. If I write y equals 5x over 2 minus 20 over 3. You have to graph this line. Notice that you're looking at slope-intercept form because y is by itself on the left. You have to find 2 things to graph the line, a point and a slope. Our slope is what's in front of x, 5/2, and our point starts, since this is a y-intercept, starts with 0, comma, and then we take 20 divided by 3, okay, so 3 goes into 20 6 times, okay, 6 times 3 is 18, there are 2 left over to get to 20, so 2/3, and since this is negative 6 2/3, so you guys will graph the point 0, -6 2/3, and then your slope is 5/2, so up 5, right 2, you graph your line, you're done. So make sure you star this as an example of question number 2 on your test. I give you a slope-intercept form and just simply ask you to graph it. Okay, so that's a big clue when you're studying to make sure that you look at just taking a slope-intercept form equation, writing your point, writing your slope, and graphing the line. All right, now, so you have your standard form labeled, you have your slope-intercept form labeled, and you have your line graphed. Okay, so this is 3 of the steps. Okay. Last 2 steps are to write your point-slope form of your equation and then find your x and y intercepts. So let's quickly write the point-slope form for this, the point-slope form for this line. Okay, so point-slope form, let's go ahead and write point-slope form. Okay, remember starts with y. And we look at our point. Take opposite the y value. Since we have negative 3 1/3, we're going to write what? Positive 3 1/3. Now this is bad form, so don't do this. Okay, so I've purposely done this. Don't do this. Remember, in the point we write the mixed number, negative 3 1/3. But what did I leave in the equation here? Notice in the equation we wrote the improper fraction, negative 10/3. Okay, so we want improper fractions in the equation. All right, we want mixed numbers in the point. So we're not going to write 3 1/3 here. We're going to write 10/3. Okay, so 10/3 is another representation of 3 1/3, and this is the improper fraction. The improper fraction in the equation, the mixed number in the point. Why? Because in the point we have to find its location. 10/3, the improper fraction, is more useful for manipulating equations. Okay, so 10/3 equals, what goes next? Our slope goes next. Slope is 2/3 times quantity, what? X, and then opposite the x value. Well, hold on, our x value is 0. Now, I told you guys, now go ahead and write this. Go ahead and write this. So opposite the x value, okay, so we write minus 0. Now, I told you guys in class that this is bad form, okay, minus 0. So if I had to give you guys directions here, I would just say x minus 0 is just x. So to write the equation as y plus 10/3 equals 2/3 times x looks better. Okay, this looks better to me. But in this class, go ahead and write minus 0 for your point-slope form. Why? Because on the AP Calculus exam, and we follow the rules of the AP Calculus exam, says that if you write a point-slope form equation, okay, you must include the minus 0. So for this class, we're going to go ahead and include the minus 0 in the point-slope form. Okay, so this is your point-slope form. Notice you have your standard, your slope-intercept, your point-slope form, you have your graph. There's 4 of your steps. So I'm going to erase this to save some space. Lastly, we have to find x and y intercepts. Okay, so let's go ahead and write x-intercept. And in the last video, I showed you guys what do we know about an x-intercept. Okay, in an x-intercept, we know that the y value is 0. So let's go ahead and put 0 in the y location. And then we also have y-intercept that we need to find. Okay, and what do we know about a y-intercept? We know that a y-intercept has 0 in x location. Okay, so x-intercept has what? A y value of 0. We also know that a y-intercept has an x value of 0. Okay, so we're going to start by finding our x-intercept. And I told you guys, does it matter which equation that you use? Does it matter whether you use standard form, slope-intercept form, or point-slope? No. Okay, but which form is always easiest to use? Well, I said standard. Why? I think it's clear here. Do you guys see fractions in the point-slope form? Well, yes. Okay, do you see fractions in your slope-intercept form? Yes. Okay, but do you see fractions in the standard form? No. Okay, all three of these equations represent this line, and all three of these equations are equivalent. All three equations will give you the same x-intercept if you use them, but the standard form is easiest. So let's go ahead and use standard form. Okay, so standard form says that 2x minus 3y equals 10. I'm going to just, this is getting cluttered. Let me just do this. Okay, so 2x minus 3y equals 10. Now, what do we know about an x-intercept? We know that an x-intercept has a y value of 0. So we're going to take 0, put it in for y, and we end up with 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 10. Now, 3 times 0 is 0, and 2x minus 0 is just 2x. So we have 2x equals 10, and then simply divide by 2, and we end up with x equals 5. This x value is the x value of the x-intercept. So go ahead and put that here. And let's find its location on the graph and see if it matches up. So we're saying that the x-intercept of this line is 5, 0. So let's go ahead and see. Does the line cross? Well, you see my line's a little bit off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is 5, 0. And I think this emphasizes why we use graph paper. My line is, I guess it's pretty close. Okay, so... okay, should pass through what? Should pass through 5, 0. Okay, and it does. But I think in class my line was kind of crooked and it wasn't quite going through 5, 0. But you guys see that graph paper will make your line very precise, especially if you use a ruler. Okay, keeping your line is very, very straight. All right, now, so mark its location. Now we're going to find y-intercept. Okay, so what do we know about y-intercept? We know that a y-intercept has an x value of 0. So let's go ahead and write y-intercept. Okay, and which equation is easiest to use? Hopefully you say standard. Okay, standard form says that 2x minus 3y equals 10. We're going to take 0. Notice that a y-intercept has an x value of 0. We're going to put 0 in for x. So we're going to have 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 10. 2 times 0 is 0. And 0 minus 3y is negative 3y. So we're going to have negative 3y equals 10. Divide by negative 3. We end up with y equals, and put your negative up top, negative 10 over 3. And we have already established that negative 10 thirds is the same as negative 3 1/3. So we're going to write this as negative 3 1/3. Close it. And I think we've already established that our y-intercept is located where? At negative 3 1/3. So, well, why did we have to find it if we've already found the y-intercept in the slope-intercept form? Well, we're practicing different methods, guys. 0, negative 3 1/3. Go ahead and mark its location. Guys, not always will you have the slope-intercept form. Sometimes you will be given a standard form equation and asked just simply to find your y-intercept. Okay, so it's faster to do this instead of converting the standard form to slope-intercept. Okay, so in other problems in this class, we're going to be asked to find y-intercept. You must know that to find a y-intercept, we put 0 in for x. Okay, now, one more thing. In this class, what is our main topic? Again, reminding you, main topic is what? Main topic is x-intercept. Okay, so this is going to be the key to being successful on your SOL. And we're going to see that the whole foundational theorem of algebra, we call this the fundamental theorem of algebra, is based on this topic, x-intercept. So if these two, what is more important? Okay, x-intercept is more important. All right, and to find x-intercept, we put 0 in for y. All right, now, Let's go to the next question. Next question's a little different. Different given information. Okay, so erasing this. Again, going to be dealing with a linear function. What two pieces of information do we need to find? Again, point and slope. Okay, the given information says, we're looking at example number 59 on handout sheet 1. Okay, so it says through 7, 2, parallel to 3x. Actually, let me do this. I want to write this all in one line. Here. Through 7, 2, parallel to 3x minus y equals 8. Okay, what are we looking at? All right, if I had to say this is probably one of the top 3 most missed questions on the test, something similar to this, okay, except I won't ask you to find parallel, I will tell you to find perpendicular. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. But, okay, so students don't know how to necessarily read this information. Okay, so going back to what do we need to find a graph a linear function? Well, we need a point, and we need what? A slope. Okay? So let's look at this information. You're desperately trying to find these two pieces of information. Looking here, what does through 7, 2 mean? Okay, so reminding you, what are you trying to find? You're trying to find what? A line. Okay, you're trying to find a line. Okay, and the line, it says, passes through. So the through 7, 2 means that the line that you're trying to find passes through the point 7, 2. So do we already have one of these pieces of information? Yes, we have the point. So let's go ahead and write 7, 2. We have the point. All right, we just have to somehow find this slope. Okay, so that must come from this other information over here. Okay, so now I'm asking you, what is this? Okay, if I underline this over here, what is that? Okay, if you think for a moment, maybe pause the video, think for a moment, what is that? Okay, someone in class said standard form. Yes, that's correct, but be more specific. What is this? Okay, what is this? Okay, this is a line. Okay, this is a line, and it's not the line that we're trying to find. We're going to write, this is a different line. Okay, and this different line has an equation. Okay, notice that this different line is parallel to the line that we are trying to find. Okay, so the line that we are trying to find passes through the point 7, 2. Okay, and this other line is parallel to the line that we're trying to find. Okay, so I think the confusing part of this problem is how the given information is written, but this is how it's written on the handout sheet. Now let's talk about parallel for a moment. So if I draw two lines that are parallel, well, first off, what does parallel mean? Parallel means that the lines never touch or they never intersect. Okay, they're parallel to one another. Okay, let's look. Notice. Question, does this line have a positive or negative slope? Hopefully you say positive slope. It's rising uphill. This line also has a positive slope. Question, if we have parallel lines that never intersect, can you see that the slopes are the same? Notice if you go up 3 and right 2, is that the same as going up 3 and right 2 on this line? Okay, so parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, so I think this gives you, we have to find the slope of this line that we're trying to find. So this other line also has a slope, and so here it becomes apparent. If we can find the slope of this other line, then we would know the slope of the line that we're trying to graph. Okay, so notice they gave you standard form equation of this other line. Okay, now in standard form you do not know how to find a point and a slope, so we have to convert the standard form to slope-intercept form in order to find the slope. So we're going to take 3x minus y equals 8, the standard form of this other line, and convert it to slope-intercept form. Okay, so we're going to isolate y, get y by itself. We're going to take the 3x, move it to the other side. We have negative y equals, be careful, there's a negative in front of y. 3x moves, becomes negative 3x. We already have a positive 8 over here. Now, we have to get y by itself, and so we have to get rid of the negative. This means negative 1 multiplied by y, so we're going to divide every term by negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. These cancel, we're left with y equals, notice that your negatives become positive, so we have positive 3x, and positive 8 divided by negative 1 is negative 8. It's basically this, if you divide by negative 1, all signs in the equation change. So the negative y becomes positive, the negative 3x becomes positive, and the positive 8 becomes negative. Now, we have the slope-intercept equation of this other line, okay? Now, can we find the slope? Yes, well, slope here is the number in front of x, which is 3. So the slope of the other line is 3. So this must mean that the slope of the line we're trying to graph has a slope of what? Same slope. Okay, slope is 3. Now we can graph our line. Okay, for this problem tonight, you simply have 2 steps. Okay, just simply graph the line and then find your x and y intercepts. So we're going to graph the line. Okay, the point is 7, 2. I'm going to need a little more space. 5, 6, 7 units to the right, 2 units up. Okay, so 7, 2. Let's see, about here. Okay, mark its location. And the slope is 3, so we're going to write rise over run. And remember, we do not write 3 over 1. So if we look here, we know that the denominator is 1. Our rise is positive 3. Our run is positive 1. This means go up 3, right 1. Okay, so from here, we're going to go up 3 and right 1. Well, hold on. You see that we don't have enough space. We didn't make a big enough graph. So up 3, right 1. We don't have enough space. Instead, what else can we do? Instead of going up 3, right 1, we can go what? Down 3. We can go down 3 and left 1. So go ahead and go down 3, left 1. And question, do 2 points form a line? Hopefully you say no. 2 points do not form a line. Okay, how many points form a line? Infinitely many points form a line. But 2 points determine the direction of a line. So with these 2 points, we can determine the direction of our line. I want you to go ahead and graph the line. Now question, does this line have a positive slope or a negative slope? Hopefully you say that this line is rising, going uphill left to right, which is consistent with a positive slope. Notice, the slope is positive, so this matches. Okay? Now, first step tonight for this type of problem, okay, is to graph it, and secondly would just be to find x and y intercepts. So let's go ahead and write x-intercept. Again, what do we know about an x-intercept? We know that its y value is 0. Okay? And what do we know about a y-intercept? Okay, we know that its x value is 0. Oh, we know that the x value is 0. So we're going to find x-intercept first. All right? Okay, so we need an equation. Okay, now I didn't say that you had to write equations for this problem, but if you think, well, if I need to find x-intercept and I need to find y-intercept, what do you need? You need what? You need an equation. Okay, now on the last problem I said that any of the 3 equations would work. Okay, you could use your point slope, you could use your slope intercept, or you could use your standard form. None of them are written for this problem. Okay, so here's a good example of what takes the least amount of time. Okay, we don't want to spend a lot of time doing this. We want to do it as fast as possible. So if you think, okay, which equation would be quickest to write? Which one would be quickest? Point slope. Okay, so we're going to write the point slope equation for this line. So go ahead and write point slope form. Okay, point slope form starts with y, and then we write opposite the y value. Since our y value in the point is 2, we're going to write y minus 2 equals, all right, and then we have our slope next. Since slope is 3, go ahead and put 3, and then we have x opposite the x value. Since our x value is 7, we're going to have x minus 7. Do we have an equation that represents this line? Hopefully you say yes. Okay, we don't need to find the slope-intercept and the standard form. Any of the 3 forms will work. So why work any more than we have to? So since we have our point-slope form, we can just simply use the point-slope form to find our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Now, for x-intercept, we know that the y value is 0, so we're going to take this equation, we're going to put 0 in for y. So instead of y minus 2, we will have 0 minus 2 equals, and go ahead and write all of this, 3 times quantity x minus 7. Okay, now 0 minus 2 is negative 2 equals, take the 3, use distributive property, 3 times x is 3x, 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. Now I said the x term, to put your x term on the left, but does the x term have to be on the left? No, you can simply take your negative 21, move it to the right, plus 21, cross it out. Negative 2 plus 21 is 19 equals 3x. Now divide by 3, and we have x equals 19 over 3. Okay? Now, remember, we don't want to put 19 over 3 or the improper fraction in the point. We're going to convert this improper fraction to mixed number. So how many times does 3 go into 19? Okay, 3 goes into 19 6 times. 6 times 3, okay, 6 times 3 is 18. We have 1 left over, so we're going to have 6 1/3. Go ahead and see, does this point match the location of the x-intercept on the graph? So we're going to count 6 1/3. This means go 6 1/3 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And a little more. Yes, it matches. So go ahead and mark its location. 6 1/3, 0. Okay. And now we have to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept, remember, has an x value of 0. So using our equation, we're going to put 0 in for x. Okay. So instead of x minus 7, we will have 0 minus 7. Let's write y minus 2 equals 3 times quantity, not x, rather what? 0 minus 7. Okay. Now, students, don't use distributive property here. Okay. We use distributive property when we have x. Okay. Notice that x and 7 do not combine, so we can simplify by distributing. Okay. But in this case, notice you can combine your 0 and negative 7. 0 minus 7 gives what? Negative 7. So let's go ahead and remember, do what's inside parentheses first. So we have y minus 2 equals 3 times negative 7. Okay, now 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. We're left with y minus 2 equals negative 21. Okay, now take the negative 2, move it to the right. It becomes positive, so we have y equals negative 21 plus 2 is negative 19. Now let's go ahead and put this y value in the point. We have 0, negative 19. Okay, let's see if this matches up with our graph. Okay, 0, negative 19 means do not go left and right. So we're not going left and right, we're going just down 19. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, we don't have enough space. Okay, so where is 0, negative 19? My question is, where is it? Well, it's way down there. Okay, so it's way down at the bottom. All right, so it's not necessary if this happens, okay, on your homework, it's not necessary that you extend your line all the way down to 0, negative 19. Are you welcome to do that? Yes. But I just want you to see, does this make sense? Where would our line cross if we extended downward? Okay, our line would cross way down here, which makes sense. Okay, so 0, negative 19, way down here. Okay, that is consistent with where the line would cross. So does our y-intercept make sense? Yes, it does. Okay, so you guys are good to go. Now, go ahead and get out, before we finish this video, go ahead and get out your definition sheet. All right, soon, instead of parallel, the problem on the test, this will not be parallel, but rather this will be the word perpendicular. Okay, so we're going to write a definition very quickly on our definition sheet. Okay, definition of perpendicular slope. Okay, and the symbol for perpendicular looks like an upside down capital T. Okay, this is the symbol. This is the symbol for perpendicular. We're going to write the definition of perpendicular slope says a slope multiplied by the perpendicular slope is equal to negative 1. We read this as a slope multiplied by the perpendicular slope. Notice the symbol for perpendicular is equal to negative 1. Now, we will talk about this in a different lesson. Okay, so when you guys get back next week, we will talk about this. All right, but for now, tonight, you guys will just do parallel. Remember, parallel means that the lines never intersect and that their slopes are the same. So if we have a positive slope here, we have a positive slope here. Notice the slopes are the same. Up 3, right 2 is the same as what? Up 3, right 2. So parallel means that the lines have the same slope. Perpendicular, let's look. First off, what does the word perpendicular mean? Perpendicular means that here. Perpendicular means that two lines intersect and form what? A 90-degree angle. Okay, so perpendicular means two lines intersect and form a 90-degree angle. Now, let me give you an example. So, just to give you a heads up, if we have a line Okay, the perpendicular line, I'm going to draw that, would be approximately this. Okay, notice these two lines form a 90-degree angle. Remember, there are 360 degrees in a circle. 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 gives 360. Notice this line has what type of slope? Going uphill left to right, this has what? Positive slope. Okay, so if a line has a positive slope, notice that the perpendicular line will have what type of slope? Going downhill left to right, the perpendicular line will have what? Negative slope. Okay? Notice that if we take a slope and multiply by its perpendicular slope, we end up with -1. Makes sense. If we take something that's positive, okay, the positive slope, and multiply by the negative slope or the perpendicular slope, we end up with a negative value. Okay, so remember, when we do perpendicular, one line will have a positive slope, one line will have a negative slope. When we multiply these slopes, we will get a negative value, specifically the number -1. Okay, that concludes this video. This should get you guys through the homework this weekend, at least the first homework assignment and half of the second homework assignment. And then I will create another video here in just a moment to cover the second handout sheet. All right, great.